who buries his talents, strengths, abilities, and gifts makes a grave mistake. Just think about this. You are on your deathbed, then those gifts that you've never used, those business ideas that God gave you, those sermons as a pastor you've never preached, those places that you are supposed to go, and books that God asked you to write and you did not write them, songs that God downloaded into you but you did not sing them, or poems, or articles, all those wonderful opportunities that God had given to you in your life, surrounding you at your deathbed, really crying and agonizing and looking you with horror, sad eyes, because they must die with you without being used. Now, this is the motivation of this book, that none of us will die with the gift and the abilities that are inside them. In fact, our encouragement is that we are going to die empty, so that we will live what we are calling, will live to the fullest. Now, this particular broadcast has been sponsored by Freshworld Computers. Are you looking for a laptop? Are you looking for a CCTV installation? Are you looking for repairs? Are you looking for high-end gadgets for live streaming services? Look no further. Freshworld Computers are located along Tom Boyer Street on Dominion House, shop number 10C. You can reach to them on 0722 399 091. Freshworld Computers, we say we've got you. Now, this is a very interesting thing that we need to talk to us this very day, because it is very important for us to ask ourselves, why is it important to understand the gift, the abilities that the Lord has been able to put to you? Why is that important in our lives? Because at the end of our lives, we live lives that are actually wanting. We live like we are liabilities. And in a short moment, I would want us to look at 5 reasons why it is very important for us to be able to discover our shape. Now, the name shape comes from, is developed by somebody called Eric Lees. He has written a very a must-read book, which is called Shape, that is understanding your uniqueness in the world and developing it to the fullest. Now, it is very important for you to look for that we know that, so that we can serve him. Serving, God has given us this gift with a very noble purpose, so that we can use those gifts, not necessarily for our personal use, no, not for selfish. They are all the gifts, the talents, the abilities, all that God has given to us. He has given us with a very simple purpose, and that is to serve him. In 1 Corinthians chapter 14 verse number 12, the Bible really says, and this was Paul talking, he says, since you are eager to have spiritual gifts, try to excel in the gifts that build up the church. Very, very important. The goal of these giftings, the reason why God deposited those abilities inside us is very simple, so that we can be able to build his kingdom, so that we can make the kingdom complete, so that it grows, it does not remain stagnant. Now, the second reason why God has given us this gift it's not only to serve him, but also to make him bigger, to glorify him. The ultimate purpose of any gifting, any grace, any anointing, any enablement that God gives to us has one chief end, is so that people will look at us and not say, wow, what a man, but say, wow, praise be to God. Now, if you look at Samson's great strength, if you look at David's courage when he was a young boy, the ability to kill Goliath, or even when you look at Gideon's, the ability to go with only 300 men and to kill and to rout the Midianites. Or if you look at Billy Graham's ability to invent electricity, or why don't we talk about Martin Luther, great oratory powers, I have a dream. Or if you look at if you come to the local scene and look at the passion demonstrated by Wangari Maathai, or if you look at the oratory power of our sitting president, President William Samoei Ruto, or if you look at the legendary footballer Mariga, if you look at all these people, it is one simple thing that is common with them, is that we see them displaying God's abilities, displaying God's power in whatever that they do. You know, we every time when we watch all the characters that I've mentioned, we are left with awe, and we turn to God and tell you, praise God for creating such a purpose. If you look at Moses, with his ability to drop a stick and swallowing fellows snakes, and even for the 10 miracles that he did, every person looked and said, just as Nebuchadnezzar be worshipped. The reason why God has gifted you, the reason why God has enabled you, the reason why God has given you lots of money, He helped you to organize things, it is very simple. Not to stamp up and say, look at me, look at what I have done. No, the goal is to go to God and tell Him, thank you, may your name be glorified. Remember the advice in Colossians 3, it says, for whatever you do, whether in word or in deed, do it all for the glory of God. You see, that is very, very important, because every time when we glorify, it simply means that there is effectiveness in the furtherance of His kingdom. And it shows when God is glorified, simply means that there is unity, that everybody is gifted differently, but people are working together, there is harmony. And when everybody comes and prays in that harmony, that symphony that is produced, that synergy that comes, it makes God to be glorified. And again, God is glorified because big complex challenges, those headache problems, are actually solved. You see, invested in when there is challenge. You know, without Haman, Esther would not have been seen, nor would Nehemiah be seen were there if there were no Sanballat. So God is glorified when we maximize our gift. The third thing that actually makes us to use our gift is number 3, to find our praise, to find, and not only our praise, but to find our lightful praise. Now, allow us to say 3 things. Number 1, a lot of us are misused. In other words, we do the wrong things. It is just like getting a spoon and then using it to cook food. Of course, you are using the right tool to do the wrong things. Or it's like picking up a bucket and actually using it for other wrong purposes, like digging a field. Of course, you don't expect that. Much as a spoon has a sharp end, but if you use it to cut grass or to peel potatoes, of course, you are simply misusing the object. Number 2, I've also learned that some people are actually abused. That is, they are doing more than they can handle. You know, God has wired us within a certain capacity. We cannot do everything. Some people say, what a man can do, a woman can do so. And these days they are actually editing that phrase, can even do better. Wrong. Very wrong. What a man can do, a woman cannot do. What a woman can do, a man cannot do. God did not wire us in a way that we can do everything that every person can do. There is a particular limitations in which that God has been able to create you. And because of that thinking that what a man can do, a woman can do, a lot of us has been abused. You need to understand the specific capacity that God has released to you. Number 3, a lot of us are disused. We are disused. Why? Because we end up doing very little. If we go with you in the passage in Matthew chapter 25, every servant was given the ability or was given a talent according to his capacity. A lot of us, because we are not in our rightful place, we end up doing very little when God expects us to do much. It's just like think about an electric train or an electric tractor. You know, you cannot compare the amount of land that an electric tractor can do compared with a normal human being. So if we don't understand the capacities, the wealth that God has deposited in our lives, we end up being disused. So in life, we are either misused, that is means we are doing the wrong thing, or we are abused, we are doing more than we can handle, or either we are disused, we are doing very little. So for us to be able to overcome disuse, misuse, and abuse, we need to find our rightful place. That is, we need to identify the area in which we excel. In other words, we need to answer the question, what is it that I do exceptionally well? If God has called you to be a carpenter, please, much as they are saying masonry is the thing, leave the masonry, go to the carpenter, because you can only excel if you do carpentry. If God has called you to do landscaping, please, much as cooking it might be the thing, please leave cooking, go and do your thing. You see, if God has called you to become a policeman, to become a pastor, to become a teacher, please don't follow any other thing. Go to that place. That is your praise, and in that praise you are going to become to excel. Become like Arnold Schwarzenegger, whose parents wanted him to be many things. For his mother, he wanted him to be a carpenter. His father had other ideas. He wanted to be a policeman. But for him, he knew his praise. He knew his praise was in becoming a professional bodybuilder. The good thing is that he followed his dream. He never became the carpenter his mother wanted him to become. He never became the policeman that his father wanted to become. He identified his praise, and his praise was becoming a bodybuilder. You know, your praise is what you do and others find it to do. You know, in their book, Now Discover Your Strength, the authors Donald Clifford actually reports that most gifted person can do more than 10. If you are gifted, whatever you can do, 10,000 people cannot do it. It simply means your praise is the thing that you do and you're good at. And it simply means when people look at what you're doing is simply unmatched. These things that you do are very easy for you, but others find it very hard. That is your praise. While you are at your praise, you perform more than others. You know, Bezalel was in his praise. His praise was artistic work. His work was exceptional. And if you look at David was at his praise. When he was fighting with Goliath, he went into a place where nobody actually had tried and failed. When he went there, things simply happening. When you are at your praise, dear viewers, what we are simply saying is that you gain excellence. You achieve more than others are able to do. Okay, that is very, very important. This is Marketplace Media, an online platform that engages, equips, and encourages believers to say inawezekana. If this is your first time being here, we encourage you to hit the subscriber button so that every time when YouTube when we upload a new video, YouTube will be able to notify you. Why is it? Why is it, we are asking? Do you need to discover what we call your gift or your shape? Why is it? We've already said 3 things. We said, and it is very important for us to be able to say it now. Okay, let's go. Let's go here. Number 1, we've said, is so that we can serve him, so that so that we can serve him. Number 2, so that we can glorify God. Number 3, so that we can find our lightful praise. Then number 4, is that so that we can find our grace. So that we can find our grace. So that we can find our grace. Very, very important for us to be able to understand that, so that we can find your grace. Now, what is your grace? Now, grace is that which you do without losing enthusiasm. You've heard people, I don't have grace. That means they cannot do it for long. Your grace is that thing that you can see, you can do it day in, day out, without losing your excitement, without losing your joy. If you look at Thomas Edison, if you look at the story in the invention of the light bulb, it is actually said that he tried over 10,000 times before he discovered the light combination that actually think about it. If you're still thinking about that, let's talk about Michael Jordan. It is said that Michael Jordan practiced many times with many misses. Today, he is a celebrated player of basketball in the world. You see, when you are following when you discover your shape, you understand your grace, and whatever it is, that thing that you do without getting tired. For some of us, there are people, when they write, they feel energized, and they can do writing on days on end. If you look at Nehemiah people in Nehemiah chapter 6, the Bible actually says the people worked with the enthusiasm. In other words, they worked as if they are possessed by the gods. In other words, whatever it is that they set their hearts to do, they did it without without giving up. It simply means that the inner fire inside them was what we call inextinguishable. In other words, it could not be put down. A lot of us put ourselves, or we engage in activities that actually kill our morale. We don't feel the vibe. We do it in a short moment, then we give up because we are not discovered our grace. It is very, very important for you to be able to understand your shape, that you do those things that you do with excitement, things that you say in Swahili, niko na neema ya kufanya vile. When you walk under the grace, you are able to flow. Not only are you able to flow, but there is excitement. Not only is there excitement, but there is excellence. Not only is there excellence, but again there is a lot of fulfillment, and God is glorified. So if you're asking why is it important for us to be able to follow or to discover our shape, we say to find our grace. Okay, very, very important. Number 5. Are we there? Yes. And number 5 is to find our peace. So we said number 5 is to find my grace. Okay, then number 5 we've said is so that you can find your peace. Very, very interesting. So that you can find your peace. Okay, this is Marketplace Media, an online platform that engages, equips, and encourages believers to say inawezekana. If this is your first time being here, we encourage you to hit the subscriber button so that every time when you upload a new video, YouTube will be able to notify you. And by the way, are you looking for a laptop? Are you looking for live streaming gadgets? Are you looking for computer repair? Are you looking for live streaming gadgets or a device? Look no further. Freshworld Computers, located along Tom Boyer Street, in Dominion House, shop number 10C, are the solution. Please book your appointment. Call them up on 0722 399 091. Freshworld Computers, we say we've got you. So why is it important for us to discover your shape? Number one is so that we can serve him. Number two, so that we can glorify God. Number three, so that we can find our rightful praise. Number four, so that we can find our grace. Number five, and this is very important, is so that we can find our peace. Now, this is when we talk about our peace, we are simply saying it is that thing that you do and it gives you calmness. In other words, it is that which you do and gives you peace of mind, as in you are able to calm. Research reports that every Monday happiness level drops by 20% in the world. 20%. You may think, John, just 20%, that is a huge drop, because that is 1 out of 5. On Friday, interesting enough, happiness then rises by 10%. So there's still the 10% difference. Now, there's a lot of folks who do not like their job. Their jobs, their businesses actually rob them peace. Instead of doing things that actually give them peace, they do things that actually don't give them peace. And so it shows in the way they do it, because they do it half-heartedly. It is incredible that so many people devote their whole lives to fields that they have nothing to do, and gifts and talents inside them. They spend their actually entire lives trying to do things that that takes away the peace in them. We encourage you to do things that gives you peace. Life is too short, if you ask me, to engage in boring activities. You need to be like Michelangelo, who said, "It is only well when I have chisel in my hand." You need to identify things that when you do them, if it's about cooking, if it's about landscaping, if it's about doing poems, it's about fixing things, it's about working behind the cameras, behind the people, if it's about sitting and listening to people's problems, if that is what is giving you peace of mind, if that is what is giving you calmness, then please do it. Okay, very, very important that you do things that gives you peace. This is Marketplace Media, an online platform that engages, equips, and encourages believers to say inawezekana. So the next time they ask you, what is it that you want to do in your life so that it gives you peace of mind, why is it important for you to be able to do things that gives you peace of mind, things that will profit you? Then you need to understand that we do it so that we can serve God, so that we can glorify him, so that we can find our praise. And we say the praise is where you excel at. It is that space that you do exceptionally well. Nobody else can do it the way you do it, so that you are able to operate under grace. That is the things that you do without getting tired. And we said it is very important for us to be able to discover our shape so that we can find our peace. And that is very, very